Breaking astrological news, stop what you're doing immediately. Eclipse season begins on Friday, March 14th with the first ever lunar eclipse in Virgo since 2016. This eclipse brings major changes and endings to the area of work, health, and service, both personally and collectively, and calls for integration and unity between our physical and mental health. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in relationship, natal, and predictive readings. I work with tropical, zodiac, and in whole sign house system. If you like my work and you want to show your support, take a few seconds to leave me a like, a comment, subscribe, press that notification bell. Watch more of my videos. There is March horoscope for you, March elections out there, to help my channel grow, bring more eyes to my channel. And you can also say thank you by buying me a tea, a coffee. Any token of appreciation is welcomed by me. I'm very thankful for each of you, even if you're sending me a good comment or a happy thought. Thank you so much for that. Before we dive in, I have a major announcement. I'm very excited to share with you that I am teaching a natal astrology blueprint of the soul course. It begins in May and lasts for 3 months, helping you understand yourself, learn about the intricate connections between yourself and others, and improve your knowledge of astrology so that it helps you and guides you through your life and helps you make healthy choices. Find it at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Additionally, on my website, you can book a reading and discover more about your life purpose, your relationships, your year coming up. I can help you pick a date for your wedding and figure out the best place to move to. You can also pick up a variety of products I create on there. I love astrology so much that I let it seep into all areas of my chart, like the candles, areas of my life, like the candles that I light or the paper products that I use. Speaking of which, my 2025 planner is here. It's not late to get it. We're still in the first quarter of the year. And this one has 223 pages filled with important tips about astrology, helping you learn it, helping you maximize it, helping you set intentions and take advantage of the new moons, full moons, lunar phases, lunar signs. A lot of space to set your intentions, a lot of space to journal and write. And on my website, you can find the candles, oils, and bracelets I make. I carefully elect the benevolent times and do a ritual offering, elect the time, create the products with ingredients that are aligned with the nature of the planets. I'd like to highlight my almond moon candle. This one is the biggest one I've ever made, and it's decorated with the moonstone stones to align it to the nature of the moon, and it smells like almond macaron. Almond is associated with the moon, and moonstone is very much the stone of the moon. You can also pick up my Moon in Cancer oils on my website. And these are very emotionally soothing, very relaxing. I light it up whenever I'm feeling anxious or stressed, and the eclipse season can definitely bring a lot of sudden developments, a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability. So lunar candles and oils can be very helpful. Additionally, we have Mercury stationing retrograde right around the time of this eclipse, and Mercury in Virgo too can be another helpful candle to deal with the fogginess that the retrograde brings, to avoid the miscommunications, delays, and crossed wires. As well as if you are a writer, once again, if you're a public speaker, you definitely want to have this because the retrograde can make the usual normal things harder. And if you're born with Mercury in Pisces or Sagittarius, Mercury retrograde natally, Mercury in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, this is perfect. And the moon objects, candles, and oils are great for those born with the moon in Scorpio and the moon in Capricorn, which are 2 signs that the moon struggles in. So, hello eclipse season. Right? This lunar eclipse is the first one. It's also the first eclipse in Virgo since 2016. And if you look even further back to say that it's the first South Node lunar eclipse in Libra in Virgo, you'd have to look back to 2007. So we haven't had this energy for a while. The eclipse occurs on Friday, March 14th at 23 degrees 58 minutes Virgo, which means it's going to affect mutable signs the most, especially if you have planets between 20 and 27 degrees Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius. Definitely keep closer attention. But eclipses, the nature of eclipses is just so big that they affect all of us, no matter the degrees. But if you have planets in those points, or your ascendant, descendant, midheaven, IC, then it's especially bright and important to you. The lunar eclipse is a full moon on steroids, right? The full moon's always the time of culmination, the peak, the closing of chapters, the turning of the wheel of karma, or fortuna, as Ignatius likes to call it, Ignatius Riley, from the book The Confederacy of Dunces that I'm currently reading. If you have read it, let me know whether you liked it or not. I'll probably be done with it by the time this video comes out. But it took me a while to get going on that book. I've been with North Node in Pisces. I feel like it's been like really encouraging me to read books and to like escape reality with all the drama that's going on through like healthier outlets. So this is the area we find ourselves in, right? North Node has ingressed into Pisces in January, simultaneously with South Node entering Virgo. The two are always opposite each other. And North Node in Pisces urges us to trust, to dream, to follow our goals, to relax a little bit, to maybe escape, right? And escape can be a negative term if you are destroying your health or hurting people, stealing money from your family members, etc. Or it could be quite a positive opportunity to offer yourself and other people a window into something larger, right? Through your writing, through your storytelling, through your YouTube videos, as perhaps I do a little bit for some of you when I offer you a chance to see the opportunities for positive manifestation. So while the North Node is in Pisces, South Node is in Virgo. And so we get, on March 14th, we get this lunar eclipse, which is about endings, and South Node in Virgo is also about endings. So what is South Node in Virgo means, right? It calls us to release a lot of unhealthy Virgo qualities and perhaps invest into healthy Virgo qualities, right? So healthy qualities could be humility, could be service. Both Pisces and Virgo are very service-oriented signs, right? They like to give, they like to share with other people. In terms of releasing, we are releasing workaholism, we are releasing perfectionist tendencies, self-criticism, analysis paralysis, anxiety, right? We're letting go of like the tight control we have on certain things, and we're welcoming freedom and joy and imagination and creativity. And so this eclipse is very much highlighting that. It is, of course, also highlighting tension between the natural Virgo's quality of being a harsh realist and Pisces' tendencies of like being a dreamer and, you know, escaping into things. There is a bit of tension between the facts represented by Virgo and the faith represented by Pisces. Holding on to things represented by Virgo and letting yourself be floated by the river and flown away by the wind, right? Representative by Pisces. But it is, you know, we are letting go of the search for perfection. We are accepting the world as it is, or we are like encouraged to let go of negative analytical perfectionist tendencies with this eclipse. On a collective level, Virgo is always connected to service industry, healing, healers, doctors, medical staff, right? It is connected to the workforce. It is connected to health. Health matters, once again, your personal and like health in general. And so we may notice that there are going to be changes in the health industry. There might be changes in the, yeah, like health, work, service, maybe potentially some layoffs, people being let go, right? Like, we are already seeing this in the US with the new administration, right? There is like transformations in the workforce, transformations around work and service, and like analysis of like what kind of branches of government do we need versus which ones we don't need. So I can see this as like a lot of powerful opportunities to deal with change collectively, or I don't know, kind of open ourselves up to change collectively. And of course, personally, right, I talk mostly about personal astrology on this channel. It is your opportunity to clear your head, starting with like your head, your thoughts, your beliefs, your wounds and ideals and identity, and then go towards like healing and cleansing your space and your environment. Virgo eclipse is perfect for colonoscopy, right? But it's true, like colonoscopy, where like a doctor is like, you're cleansing your body off of everything and then you're getting looked at, or decluttering. Doesn't have to be as sort of invasive of a process as a colonoscopy, but cleansing your space, decluttering, letting things go, donating your clothes, shedding outer things so that you can shed inner things. The ruler of the eclipse is Mercury, stationing retrograde in Aries right at the time of the eclipse. It officially goes retrograde on March 15th, early on March 15th at 2:46 a.m. So as this eclipse is coming through, Mercury's pretty much standing in one place. So with Mercury stationing retrograde, we have a sense that facts aren't as solid as they once seemed to be. There's maybe a lack of certainty, clarity, and we need to revise things we once considered the truth. So another sense of like, it is an eclipse, we're shedding things and we're maybe not immediately aware what it is we're letting go because of that mental like focus. The station of Mercury is usually the time when we are sort of zoomed in on something. So it could be clear what you're focusing on, but maybe not everything will be clear. There is an opposition to Saturn, an opposition to Neptune from the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, which suggests a certain reality checks, a certain maybe need to compromise, sacrifice things. Again, feeling a little bit serious and stagnant or stuck and confusing with Neptune. What I do really like is two positive aspects. The moon in Virgo is trining Uranus and it's sextiling Mars fresh from the retrograde. So we do have that newfound sense of awareness and courage and energy with Mars, and with the trine to Uranus, there is an openness, even though we may not know where this path is taking us, where the new North Node in Pisces energy, the dreams that we're exploring, where all of that is going to end up taking us, we feel open, we feel curious, right? With the trine to Uranus and Taurus, we're open to new ways of doing our work. We're open to new ways of treating our body. We're open to work that is maybe a little bit slower and easier and a little more like allows us to enjoy life, savor the moment a little bit more. So it does have kind of this hope that things are going to be okay. It's not all dark. So let's take a look at the 12 zodiac signs. I recommend listening to your rising sign because that tends to be the most accurate horoscope and prediction, and break it down, discussing what it might mean for you. Before I do that, if you're looking for personal horoscope, you feel like this general one resonates, but you're craving more, visit Anastasia.astrology.com. You can book a natal, relationship, or predictive reading on there. I can also help you figure out the best place in the world for you to move to, as well as the best date for your wedding or your business or whatever else might be. If you are an Aries rising, there is a lunar eclipse in your 6th house, which represents a completion of the chapter started with the new moon in Virgo in early September 2024, and also a completion of a work chapter potentially, right? Here we have the lunar eclipse on the south node, and you may feel drained around the time of this full moon lunar eclipse. You may feel like you are tired of paperwork and sort of dealing with your colleagues and maybe some work drama. There might be a sense of like physical fatigue that is calling you to rest and let things go. And so the lunar eclipse will encourage you to maybe transform your work life so that you have more balance, right? So that there is more opportunity to rest and to do yoga or to travel or to kind of connect with your spirituality, because that is what ultimately the North Node in Pisces wants. It wants you to commit to something that is not just the grind, but is a little bit more creative, a little bit more playful, a little bit more inspired. The lunar eclipse in the 6th house may bring important changes around your physical health. But once again, I feel like you're examining your bad habits, and bad habits can be connected to workaholism or perfectionism or being too controlling, right? Like saying that if I don't do it, it never gets done, or it never gets done perfectly. There might also be hypochondria and habits around health that are standing in your way. The important thing here is realizing the connection between your mental health and your physical health, and realizing that those two are always and forever interconnected. You cannot have strong physical health without strong mental health. You cannot keep pushing yourself and expect that your mental health will be good, right? So like, what habits around work, around health, around mental health, spirituality you need to adjust in your life? And it can even be a shift from like a more maybe weight-bearing physical exercise to doing more yoga and bringing like an element of spirituality into your life. I'd love to know what you think about it. Have you been noticing this appearing in your life already? If you're looking for more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can book a year ahead reading, relationship natal chart reading on there, and definitely pick up one of my candles. Almond Moon or Moon in Cancer oils are really good for like emotional balancing. If you are the beautiful Taurus rising, there's a lunar eclipse in your 5th house, ruled by Mercury stationing retrograde in your 12th house. So something is brewing in your house of romance, pleasure, parenthood, and children. And there is both a chance to release as well as a chance to welcome something that is more spiritual. With the ruler being Mercury stationing retrograde in the 12th house, I feel like you are focusing a lot on spirituality. You're focusing a lot on imagination, maybe things that are less kind of tangible or less grounded, right? The retrograde in the 12th house, even like the North Node, Sun, Saturn, Neptune in the 11th, there are these dreams that are popping up in your head. There are new pursuits, new collectives, new groups of people. And so as you go for that, you are, first of all, you need to get honest with yourself with what is it that you value versus what is it that you're not valuing. And then you're getting to do the work on like releasing and shifting perspectives. So releasing in the 5th house, there could be bad habits. And with Virgo being your 5th house, I wouldn't imagine that your bad habits are, I mean, they can be. Like, but I feel like with the house of pleasure being Virgo, you're maybe quite controlling when it comes to your food or your diet or the way you like have fun and party and things like that. But if you do tend to sometimes overindulge, the lunar eclipse in the 5th house could be an opportunity to like cleanse your habits and get a little bit better about what you put in your body. There are also, I think, major opportunities to handle some matters involving children, and this eclipse can bring important changes in the lives of your children. There may be important developments in the romantic relationship, and if a romantic relationship feels like it's not fulfilling, like it's not aligned with your soul's purpose and your dreams and your goals, this could be the time you set somebody free in your life and you maybe let the relationship go. But it's an interesting shift, that there's an interesting shift happening here, because some things that you used to find appealing, like maybe drinking sugary drinks or maybe hanging out with certain people, they may start to feel less enjoyable, versus some other things like connecting with your community and helping people and maybe being more of a revolutionary. With the eclipse trining Uranus in the first house can become more prominent in your life. I'd love to hear what you think, and if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at Anastasia.astrology.com. There are natal chart, predictive, relationship consultations on there. You can also purchase. You can get a reading that helps you figure out where to move, because I do relocation astrology as well, or I can help you figure out the best date for your wedding or any other important event. For the beautiful Gemini rising, there is a lunar eclipse in your 4th house of home, family, and living situation. We are completing the chapter started with the new moon in Virgo in early September 2024, so take a look back. But it could bring a physical change in terms of where you live, right? Like that's the low-hanging fruit, lunar eclipse in the 4th house. You can be moving. You can be selling your home and maybe traveling somewhere to a brand new place. You're maybe completing a home renovation project or completing a chapter connected to family. Maybe your mother moved to a different state and you're helping her sell her house, right? Or you're dealing with an inheritance. You're maybe closing some chapters there. 4th house is not just home, it's also your comfort and your sense of security. And so with the lunar eclipse in the 4th, there could be deeper questions around what is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes you feel secure? And maybe certain realizations that there are changes there. I can also see this as a very healing eclipse, where you're looking at your past, or you're looking at your relationship with your parents, or what you've learned as a kid, what you've seen as a kid, and you are shedding some of that, you're processing some of that, you're finding acceptance, but also change and release in that part of your life. So like opportunities to declutter your inner space, clear your inner space, go through the attic of your psyche and throw some things out or put them in new boxes and label and organize it, very Virgo-like, as well as decluttering your home, cleaning the space in your home. You may find yourself feeling a bit more like emotional and nostalgic around this time, and that is okay. Let the feelings come. For more guidance, visit Anastasia.astrology.com. You can book a natal relationship predictive reading. I can also help you figure out the best place to relocate to and the best date for your wedding or other important event. I'd also very much like to highlight my Mercury in Virgo 2 candle. This is perfect for you as a Mercury-ruled person, and it can help you find more clarity during the eclipse season and Mercury going retrograde on the 15th. So it can help you express yourself better. For the beautiful Cancer rising, there's a full moon in the 3rd house, which brings completion, transformation, changes to your sector of communication, writing, schedule, siblings, neighbors, business. And take a look back at September 2024 when we had a new moon in Virgo. You may have started applying for something. You may be scheduled an exam and now you're taking that exam. You may have experienced, maybe your sibling or your relationship with your sibling experienced a new beginning. And now with the lunar eclipse here, you're getting a chance to revisit that again. The ruler of the lunar eclipse is Mercury, about to go retrograde in your 10th house. So there is a strong focus on your public life and maybe your career goals or your aspirations. And so the lunar eclipse conjunct South Node, very much about spirituality and cleansing and release in the 3rd house. Could be very mental. It could be the time when you are realizing, where are you being too controlling, where are you being too fearful, where are you not seeing the forest for the trees, right? North Node is in your 9th house and you're dreaming of new horizons, literally new territories, new countries to move to, or maybe more internally with becoming a teacher, becoming an astrologer, right? But then with Virgo being your 3rd house, there is a bit of a tendency to be a perfectionist and to worry too much and be anxious, right? Or hold yourself back. And so this lunar eclipse is calling you to declutter and cleanse your mind first, and perhaps replace some of those negative storylines with the more positive affirmations. So I like this for cleansing your mind, and I like this for also potentially looking at your everyday life, your routine, your way of doing things, and maybe cutting some responsibilities away, making sure that you're streamlining your schedule so it's most aligned with your goals and the path your life is taking. Completing any courses of study, finishing dealing with paperwork, visas, applications, maybe letting go of fight with a sibling or transforming something in the relationship with siblings and neighbors, and getting ready, getting sort of all ducks in a row for the journey of the mind or the body you're about to take. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Pick up my almond moon candle. Highly recommend this for you guys because it captures the moon in Cancer, and it is perfect for like soothing and stronger comfort, sense of self-worth, and confidence. Highly recommend this. There are also moon in Cancer oils. I'm all out of candles, but you can get those as well if you prefer the oils. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. For the beautiful Leo rising, there's a full moon in your 2nd house of money and values. It represents a completion of the chapter started in September 2024 with the new moon in Virgo. So take a look back. The lunar eclipse in the 2nd house does suggest opportunities to pay off some debts and finish some financial projects. But 2nd house is not just about money. 2nd house is about our values and our sense of self-worth. And with Virgo being your 2nd house, there might be a strong sense of identifying with being productive. All of your work-related, money-related, work-related and personal finances houses are earthy, right? Your 2nd house is Virgo, your 6th house is Capricorn, your 10th house is Taurus. And so when it comes to work, you're very grounded, you're very productive, you're very hardworking. And I wonder with this lunar eclipse if there is a bit of like unhealthy tendency to maybe be too careful with money, or a tendency to validate your, like, kind of put a lot of emphasis on stability and a job and finances, and kind of almost like valuing yourself based on how productive you are, which is, many of us do, but it's not always healthy. So with the lunar eclipse in the 2nd house, there is an opportunity to let some of that go, to examine your values, right? And examine, where are you being maybe too harsh with yourself, too critical, too nitpicky with yourself. There might also be opportunities to welcome new financial relationships, like new relationship with money, and new relationship with your partner or partners in business and in life, where maybe you're welcoming their support a little bit more, you're allowing them to take control a little bit more. The lunar eclipse in the 2nd might also bring a chance to absolve yourself of some money, let's say. If you're paying off a debt, that's obvious, right? But then maybe you are with North Node, especially in your 8th house, maybe you're getting a mortgage or you're making an important purchase. And so there's like a change in financial dynamics. If you've been working towards a raise, the full moon lunar eclipse in the 2nd house could be connected to like a raise or maybe a change in the job. Because it is a South Node eclipse, I think once again you're prioritizing more soulful, more spiritual, more kind of connection in life versus material gains. So the changes that are happening are very much connected to that. I'd love to know what you think. How has this been showing up for you already? If it has, for more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book a year ahead, a natal, a relationship reading. You can also book a reading to find out the best date for your wedding, your business, or any other important endeavor in your life. And I can help you figure out the best place in the world you should move to. For the beautiful Virgo rising, there is a lunar eclipse in your 1st house, which brings major changes to your sense of self, your physical image, your body, and identity. As a Libra rising who just finished this series of eclipses, this is an interesting one. We've had, you can reflect back on the 2nd half of 2006, 2007, when this cycle was happening the last time. And you can also, to stay sort of closer to present time, you can look back at September 2024 when we had a new moon in Virgo. Because those can sort of give you a little bit of clues on what this is about. But South Node has entered your 1st house, North Node has entered your 7th. With South Node in the 1st, there is a sense of change and death and rebirth personally. And South Node is very spiritual and South Node is very cleansing. So on many levels, you're maybe letting go of self-doubt, self-criticism, workaholism, a tendency to control things, or a tendency to be hard on yourself. So there could be like deep realizations in terms of where things are coming from. The ruler is Mercury, about to go retrograde in your 8th house. So the ruler being in the 8th could be a source of like light and illumination in terms of darker topics connected to the past and sharing with other people and give and take dynamics. As well as there may be some important physical changes. Sometimes the lunar eclipse in the 1st, this is the most likely one where you may undergo some kind of like important procedure, right? Like, like some kind of colonoscopy or some kind of like physical fasting and like letting things go. It could be what you choose because you schedule it around this time, or sometimes maybe you just don't feel like eating and you're dieting around the time of this lunar eclipse. It is a good time, I think, to like actually cleanse your body and cleanse your wardrobe and like maybe look through your documents and donate some clothes and get rid of some papers, right? Like go through like a physical cleansing process, because in the next couple of years, you may be reborn as a more spiritual person. You may discover more focus towards like your health, towards your identity. You may emerge as a guide and a leader for other people. But there is very much a sense of like shift and, like I said, maybe a sense of a version of you that controls things and likes things a certain way. Is you're shedding your skin and you're welcoming a new version of you. I'd love to hear how this resonates. If you have anything to share, please let me know in the comments below. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book your year ahead relationship or predictive reading on there. My beautiful Libra risings, the lunar eclipse highlights your 12th house of blind spots, spirituality, mental health, hidden enemies. And to give you a spoiler alert, hidden enemy most of the time is you yourself. So there is callback to 2006, 2007, which is the last time the South Node was in Virgo. And you can also look back at September 2024, early September specifically, when we had the new moon in Virgo, because the lunar eclipse or the full moon big bright full moon is the completion of what was started with the new moon in September. And so here you're looking at your spiritual projects, and you're maybe completing something, a work of spirituality, imagination that you have started 6 months ago. Maybe you've started knitting, or you started journaling, or you started therapy. And so the lunar eclipse could be the time of culmination of that, completing a project, reaching a breakthrough in therapy, coming to a better, sort of deeper state of self-understanding. It is a south node eclipse, and it is ruled by Mercury stationing retrograde in your 7th house. So there is a strong focus on relationships and a need to speak up in relationships, a need to be honest and direct. And so you're maybe, with this eclipse, you're maybe letting go of self-defeating tendencies like not speaking up or overthinking things in relationships, and kind of getting yourself in a state of anxiety and maybe freaking out, right? There is important opportunities to let something go and to clear something with this lunar eclipse. So with Virgo in your 12th house, you're very much, your self-defeating tendencies can be connected with being anxious, being perfectionist, being self-critical. And so this lunar eclipse is an opportunity to get aware of those things and potentially let some of those go. The eclipse occurs at 23 degrees 58 minutes Virgo. So if you have any planets in Virgo around that point, between like 20 and 27 degrees Virgo, it will be extra important for you. But I think it's an interesting one, because it's an opportunity to also examine how your mental health connects to your physical health. We have the Sun, Saturn, and Neptune in the 8th house, and how your mental health also maybe seeps through into every relationship you have, right? And take control of these like negative habits. And there might even be opportunities to examine your sleep patterns and how much time you spend on your phone, or how often you exercise, or how much sugar you eat, and deal with these like physical changes to your body that can also bring more peace to your mental state. I'd love to hear how this resonates. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com and book a reading on there, or pick up one of my candles. Almond Moon is a great one for emotional peace, stability, and calm. If you are a beautiful Scorpio rising, there's a lunar eclipse in your 11th house, which brings completion to the chapter started in September, early September, with the new moon in Virgo. The ruler is Mercury stationing retrograde in Aries, your 6th house. The eclipse opposes Saturn and Neptune in the 5th, and it trines Uranus in the 7th. So lunar eclipse in the 11th house. South node is here, and so there is a strong energy of cleansing, release, and maybe shedding some things. And in the 11th house, you're looking at your community, with the ruler being Mercury in the 6th. Makes me wonder if it's your colleagues or it's your work community that you're examining. And there may be a sense of shedding some perfectionist tendencies, shedding a need to be perfect in the eyes of others. I'm going to put it that way. Because North Node is in your 5th house, and you are connecting with your inner joy, and you're discovering hobbies and interests and passions. You're having time of your life being a parent, or spending time with children, or being kind of childlike and playful. And the Virgo energy may seep in through like people judging you, or trying to control you, or trying to tell you what you should and should not be doing. And so this lunar eclipse is an opportunity to release some of those friendships, or transform some of the connections that are not supportive, right? Maybe you're setting better boundaries. Maybe you're speaking up or speaking out. The trine to Uranus in the 7th feels like you do have important one-on-one connections in your life, but I think there is an opportunity to like examine maybe some friendships that are too nitpicky and critical, some people who are too nitpicky and critical. There might also be an opportunity to complete some kind of project with a friend or finish a group project, finish a social media project, and also potentially ask yourself what pursuits still feed the fire within or make you feel happy and satisfied, and which relationships, which sort of engagements and things on your social agenda are draining and unsupportive and unhealthy for you. Please share how this resonates. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can book a reading on there. You can also pick up my Mercury in Virgo candle or almond moon candle. This is great for this is great for lifting weights, but this is really good for sort of creating more calm and peace and ease in your life. And Mercury in Virgo could be great for communication, writing, and more clarity. For the beautiful Sagittarius rising, there's a lunar eclipse in your 10th house, which marks professional change and change in your public life and in your public relationships. It could literally bring a transformation in your boss's life, because 10th house also represents bosses and authority figures. So something might be happening in their life that in turn changes your career. But considering that the South Node is here and North Node is in your 4th house, and there's a strong focus presently for the next couple of years on creating a secure home base for yourself, spending time with family, maybe starting a family, there is some sort of sense of release in your professional life where you're slowly but surely shifting to working a little less, to maybe doing work that is more soulful, that is more aligned with your desire to work from home. The ruler is Mercury stationing retrograde in the 5th house. So once again, a strong focus on like pleasure and joy and children and parenthood potentially. And so the full moon brings a chance to change something, right? Now it might be a desire. Maybe you're desiring to work less. Maybe you're desiring to do work that is more soulful. Maybe you're desiring to not work at all and just, stay at home with your child for a little bit. Nothing is wrong with that. So important developments like in the career life, changes in the life of bosses, all of that is possible. Take a look back at what was happening in your professional life in 2006, second half of 2006 and 2007. And you can also look at what kind of projects and professional opportunities appeared in your life in September 2024 when we had a new moon in Virgo, which would have brought new beginnings that are now blooming and changing. There's also a trine to Uranus in the 6th house, which also feels like a chance to like revolutionize your life and your professional life and maybe free yourself from something. For more guidance, visit anastasiadoesastrology.com. Pick up a natal, relationship, or predictive reading on there. And I'd like to recommend my Mercury in Virgo 2 candle because this is great for relationships. Your 7th house is ruled by Mercury for clarity, writing, public speaking, and any communication matters. For my beautiful Capricorn risings, there is a lunar eclipse in your 9th house. So it brings changes to education, travel, legal matters, writing, as well as your mindset. With North Node having recently entered your 3rd house, you are playing with the idea of publishing your work, starting a business, getting more involved with your community, getting sort of more into the swing of things, right? Getting your hands dirty. With the South Node in your 9th, and this lunar eclipse very much highlights your South Node, there is a need to, on one hand, complete some larger cycles, and then on the other hand, release some of your fears and some of your self-doubt and some of like the sense that maybe you don't have what it takes or you don't have the knowledge. Like Virgo energy can be quite anxious and perfectionist and self-critical, right? But in terms of bigger cycles, right, sometimes the lunar eclipse in the 9th represents finishing education or moving or dealing with some kind of visas, education matters, travel matters, mentors, teachers, sort of closing chapters there. The ruler is Mercury, stationing retrograde in the 4th house. So perhaps the cycles you're completing are connected to family or living situation or property. So the lunar eclipse in the 9th can very much indicate, final stages of a legal matter around like fighting for property or dealing with inheritance or something like that. There is a trine to Uranus in the 5th, which once again feels some kind of opportunity for like creative freedom, creative self-expression. I can even see this with the trine to Uranus in the 5th house as maybe a chance to move because you have a partner in a different country. Yeah. I'd love to know how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can also pick up my moon candles, my planner, anything that your heart resonates with the most on there. For the beautiful Aquarius rising, there's a lunar eclipse in your 8th house, conjunct South Node, which represents a change and transformation of give and take dynamics, sharing with other people, payment of debts, transformations around loans, taxes, mortgage payments, investments, and things like that. So North Node has just entered Pisces, your 2nd house, and there's a lot of focus on like personal financial independence, maybe investments, maybe building your kind of self-worth and confidence in yourself. And the lunar eclipse in the 8th house is calling you to examine all of the intertwined relationships you have with other people, all of the maybe hidden more things that are like hard to talk about, spoken and unspoken agreements with other people. And so the South Node here is calling you, I think, to like weigh which ones you want to be involved in and which ones are holding you back. So with the lunar eclipse in the 8th, there may be opportunities to pay off debts, to end some partnerships, to maybe literally get out of some like insurance payments, or maybe you're finishing some kind of child support payments because your child is old enough and it's allowing you to have more freedom financially. Maybe you're paying off a mortgage and once again, you have more freedom financially. The ruler is Mercury, stationing retrograde in Aries, your 3rd house. So it feels like you're driven by having kind of more freedom to start a business, to learn new things, to explore your skills. There may be sibling relationships that are highlighted here and changing dynamics in the sibling relationships, especially if a sibling or a neighbor is being kind of, if they like expect a lot of you and they create a sense of discomfort in your life. So yeah, opportunities to clear financial and other involvements with other people, and maybe opportunities to bring more like spirituality into those relationships as well, and more kind of deeper connection. I'd love to hear how this resonates if you're noticing this already. And for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can also pick up my moon candle or moon oil there to help you deal with otherwise hectic, unpredictable eclipse energy. For the beautiful Pisces rising, there's a lunar eclipse in your 7th house, which brings major changes to your relationships, partnerships, contracts, and agreements. And this can, of course, mean a few things, right? So take a look back at 2006, second half, and 2007. In terms of the last time South Node was in Virgo, and we would have had the same kind of series of eclipses. And take a look back at September 2024 when we had a new moon in Virgo, which would have represented a new beginning in your relationship life. And so this is a South Node eclipse, right? So it's a cleansing, it's transforming, it's releasing. And in Virgo, we are releasing perfectionism, we are releasing criticism, we are releasing workaholic tendencies. And this can apply to you, or this can apply to your partner. The lunar eclipse in the 7th house can represent a partner going through some kind of release and change in their life. It can represent tests in relationships where you are facing a choice whether to stay and keep working on things or to let it go because it's too draining and too difficult and too anxiety producing, right? It could be an opportunity to up-level a relationship and maybe commit because you realize that this person is the person you've always dreamt about and you want to be with them even when they are difficult and complicated, right? The ruler is Mercury stationing retrograde in Aries, the second house, so there are some questions around money. Maybe you're wondering whether you should stay in a business partnership and whether a business is going to be lucrative and financially rewarding. Maybe you're questioning values, right? Second house is values and priorities between you and your partner. There is a trine to Uranus in the third, so you do have the power to talk it out and figure things out for sure. But the interesting dynamic here is that the Sun, Saturn, and Neptune and North Node are all in your first house. And so there is a lot of focus on like personal development and growth and achievement and self-understanding. And so I think the relationships the question in terms of relationships you're asking are like, are they building me up? Are they tearing me down? Are these relationships aligned with who I am and what I have to offer, or are they not? And then the changes that are coming are very much in response to those questions. I'd love to know what you think. For more guidance, check out anastasiadoesastrology.com. Book a natal, year ahead, solar return, best done around your birthday, or relationship reading on there. You can also pick up my moon in Cancer, oil, or Mercury in Virgo 2 candle to help with clarity communication throughout Mercury retrograde and the eclipse season. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. This is the first eclipse of 2025. March is full of these big, interesting, exciting transits, which gets me kind of giddy because there is a lot to talk about, but also a little nervous because I'll be going through them just as you are, knowing of what's coming up. It's not always equal being calm and collected and having the best time. But, you know, we have each other and we know, so we are somewhat prepared. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.